Has the United States lost the war with Iran? A lot of people are saying that right now, and I understand why they feel that way, but it's absolutely not true. It could become true, but it's not true right now. The United States has not lost the war with Iran. In fact, it's done historic, devastating damage to the Iranian regime and its offensive military capabilities. Hi, this is Joel Rosenberg in Jerusalem with an update from All Israel News and a commentary that I just want to share with you because I keep hearing this. I understand why people feel this way, and it's because of this memorandum of understanding, the initial stage of this Iran deal that was negotiated by U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and signed by President Donald Trump, while they were both pretty caustic against Israeli leaders at this moment and making it seem like Israel was getting in the way of this war. And in this agreement, there's a lot of things I don't like. And I want to get to that in a moment. But I first want to say, okay, people, seriously, you cannot claim that the United States lost a war in which it has completely destroyed Iran's entire nuclear weapons program. Okay, no other American president in history was willing to do what President Trump just did starting February 28th, and that is go into war, a military operation, Operation Epic Fury, with Israel at his side, at the United States side, and crush, devastate, obliterate Iran's nuclear weapons program. That's what happened, okay? You cannot say that the United States has lost a war in which we've destroyed 85% of Iran's ballistic missiles and their ballistic missile launchers and all or nearly all of the factories that make Iranian ballistic missiles. You can't, that's not a loss. That's success. You can't say that the United States has lost a war in which it entirely obliterated the Iranian Air Force. You can't say that the United States lost a war in which it obliterated the entire Iranian Navy. Okay, this is a little bit crazy to say these things. Now, what's interesting to me is, yes, Israelis are horrified by the memorandum of understanding, the Trump-Vance-Iran deal, such that it is. Now, again, it's not a final deal. It's the beginnings of a negotiation. But Israelis are very sour on it. I'm going to share with you some of the latest polling numbers on that. But Americans actually like this deal. 51% of Americans say they agree that this deal is a good deal for the United States. Only 34% say this is a bad deal. The Iran deal is a bad deal for the United States. That's interesting. And after signing the deal, President Trump's approval ratings went up. Those who approve of the president are at 50%. Those who disapprove of President Trump is at 46%. That's a significant increase from where the president has been, which has been underwater in polling for most of this year and going back to last year. What's more, at the moment, what's happening in the American economy? The stock market has taken off and has passed 50,000 on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is historic, and that means that Americans are seeing their 401ks and their IRAs and their investments are improving. Their retirement savings and saving for their kids' college and their and saving for a home. That's getting better. Meanwhile, oil prices have dropped. Okay, international oil prices have dropped below where they were on February 28th when Operation Epic Fury began. Now, admittedly, those oil prices, which were at about $68, $70 or so then, shot up to about $115, $120 as the war was roaring on. But now that there's a ceasefire, a bumpy ceasefire, but a ceasefire nonetheless, those oil prices have dropped and it's at or around $68 or lower. That's big because what's happening now, gas prices are starting to come down as well, right in the summer months, right when Americans are traveling on summer vacation and trying to take a break, and they're seeing those prices at the pump beginning to come down. Now, what President Trump is trying to do with this deal is uh, create an environment where Iran is off the front page of the papers, and where Iran and the war with Iran is not dominating the front the headlines on the evening news and on social media. Where Israel, as much as Israel is a friend to the United States and a friend to the president of the United States, he wants Israel and Lebanon and Hezbollah and Iran all off the front pages and off the lead of the television networks. And as that starts to happen, if the economy continues to grow, what's the goal? What's President Trump's goal? Well, first of all, it's to lock in the gains that he made on the military battlefield, shift to trying to have an extended negotiation where the MOU, the Iran deal, gets tougher going forward now that Iran has seized the carrots. That their oil money is going to be released, and the sanctions will begin to be lessened and relaxed. That the oil embargo, the naval embargo, will be downshifted. Trump has used this deal to show Iran how it could benefit. But he did that by not putting in all the specific things that he said we as Americans, we as Israelis, we as the Arab world, we as our allies would receive from this deal: unconditional surrender from Iran, the end to the ballistic missile program, the end to the enriching of uranium in Iran, the end of funding of terrorism, and so forth, right? And the Strait of Hormuz opened. The Strait of Hormuz is open. Ships are moving with oil and natural gas. That is helping bring the prices of those things down. Now, I understand why people are horrified. I was horrified when I first read it. And I'm not saying that Trump might not accidentally give away all the gains that he's just made militarily. That could happen. If the final deal with Iran codifies what's all the benefits to Iran that are in the MOU and doesn't toughen up the language to say you can't enrich uranium. You have to give back all enriched uranium that there already is in your country. You can't build missiles. You can't fund terrorists. You can't charge tolls and fees and levies on or try to control in any way, shape, or form the Strait of Hormuz, right? And of course, you cannot have a nuclear weapon. If the deal doesn't codify those things that we were all promised and does codify all these gains, including what I think is crazy, a $300 billion fund to rebuild Iran, then yes, Trump and the United States will have lost. But that's not where we are right now. And I have to say, there's a feeling that as I watch even friends of Israel and friends of President Trump and people who have historically appreciated President Trump's toughness with Iran and close friendship and partnership and alliance with Israel, it's like they've all become Dory from Finding Nemo. Like they have short-term memory loss. Like, what is happening that you can't remember that a month ago, 2 months ago, President Trump and the United States military did so much astonishing, historic, devastating damage to the Iranian regime. The supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, dead, gone, burning in hell. The defense minister of Iran, all the top leaders of Iran, all the close advisors to Khamenei, they're all gone. They're all dead. The decapitation strike worked. And again, the Air Force of Iran is gone. The Iranian Navy is gone. The missile program mostly gone, not entirely. And the nuclear program devastated. So that is just a month or two ago. So I just want to say that there needs to be caution. It's not helpful to think, much less say, that the United States has lost this war. Okay? I share the concerns of those who are not happy with this MOU as it's drafted. I don't understand this deal, except for this idea, as I just said, if the strategy is Trump is trying to front load the carrots to get Iran to calm down and make a final deal that will give up all the other things, okay, let's see it happen. But I do see that President Trump is focused on the midterm elections. He's very worried about losing them. And Iran knows this. So Iran may try to stir the pot and create difficulties for the president, and maybe try to close the Strait of Hormuz again and sort of tempt Trump to come and do a massive bombing of Iran in mid August. That would be 60 days from the start of the Iran deal. Then prices of oil will go back up. Then Iran and the region will be back on the front pages, back on the leading stories on the nightly news, back saturating social media, and the price of gas will go up. The stock market will start to drop. Those will all be bad signs for President Trump and his Republican Party as he goes into the all-important midterm elections. So we need to pray. We need to see. By the way, All Israel News, we're nonpartisan, we're non-political. I'm not advocating one thing or another in terms of President Trump's political aspirations for his party, the Republican Party. That's not what we do. But I'm explaining why President Trump made the deal that he did. And I'm saying right now it's working well for him. His poll numbers are up, gas prices are down, oil prices are down, the stock market's up. Iran is starting to come off the lead of the newspapers and news networks. So, yes, Israelis feel alone, and Trump has used more F-bombs and dropped more F-bombs on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu than he dropped actual bombs on Iran over the last month. That's a problem. That's a problem to me, and it's why Israelis feel abandoned. They feel forsaken. They're scared because they don't understand why Trump is doing this MOU that doesn't have any of the things that they expected to be in it. It's not in the deal yet. And Trump is being so caustic against Netanyahu, who he's been saying for months, for years, is his best friend and best ally, most trusted ally in the Middle East. So that's a real concern. And the vice president has been very caustic towards Israel as well. Not anti-Semitic. I don't think you can say he's anti-Israel. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he has leveled some very serious allegations, like he blasted the other day in the White House press room, he blasted Israeli cabinet members for being so caustic and personally attacking President Trump. But that's not true. There's not a single Israeli cabinet member that has been personally attacking President Trump or Vice President Vance. That's just not accurate. They are concerned, and some of them have expressed concern about this deal. Yes, that is true, but that's fair, right? We live on the front lines here. I saw very caustic statements by an Israeli commentator on Israeli Channel 14 that were really uncalled for, and were personally attacking Trump and Vance. I think those were wrong, but that person isn't in the cabinet. So, but all of that is combining to give Israelis a lot of discomfort and a feeling of abandonment. Let me just give you a couple facts from the Israeli polling. So while Americans like the deal, a majority do, Israelis do not like this deal. 67% of Israelis say the deal is bad for Israel. That's according to a poll from Israeli Channel 12. Only 9% of Israelis say that the Trump-Vance deal is good for Israel. One other poll, has the Iran deal changed your opinion of President Trump? Listen to this. 73% of Israelis say yes, the Iran deal has changed their perception of Trump for the worse. Okay. Only 3% of Israelis say that the Trump-Vance deal with Iran has made them see Trump better. Okay. Trump's numbers here were at somewhere between 70 and 75% approval rating of support for the president before the war, and might have even been higher as the war began. But those numbers have collapsed by more than 40 points in the recent days because of the fear, the anxiety that this Trump-Vance deal is not what we expected and might get codified and cause us to think, oh, Iran did win the war and we did not. I don't think we're there yet, but I understand why many evangelicals feel it, why many conservatives feel it, and certainly why many Israelis feel it. But let's take a breath. I'm not for, but I can't abandon the fact that President Trump has done more to advance American interests in the Middle East than any other American leader in several decades, or that he's been closer to Israel and more unified in protecting U.S. interests and defending Israel side by side, wingtip to wingtip in this war. We let's not go by emotion. Let's not just chuck out everything that President Trump has accomplished. Whether you like him, don't like him, he's accomplished more than any American president ever. And I think that is important. From Jerusalem, this is Joel Rosenberg for All Israel News.